Hey!
Hi everybody, it's Miss Walters.
And Miss Livingston.
We're glad to be back with you for another week. This week we're going to be talking about Japanese culture and Sumi painting, and Miss Livingston's going to teach you a Japanese song. So it's going to be super neat. Let's go. We are going to be working on a Sumi Japanese painting. Now, if you're one of my 5th graders, you know that we've done this or talked about this a little bit in class. So we're going to be making some bamboo paintings that are going to look a little bit like this, but we're going to be using some special materials today. Okay? So I know a lot of us don't have paints and things like that at home. So if you are without paint at your home, you can always use different things that you can find around the house. Like here I have some assorted food coloring and some tea as well. You can also use nail polish, even though you're not going to have that much control with your nail polish. So my suggestion is to use one of these things if you have them at the house. If you don't have paint, if you have paint, obviously use your paint for this activity. Now, for the last 30 minutes or so, I've been sitting these tea bags into this container that I have right here. And if you want to zoom in, you can see that this is a dark color now, right? A dark brown. So we're going to try to use this, experiment a little bit, and use this for our painting today. Before we get started, I do want to share with you my Sumi painting kit. So if you are one of my 5th graders, we talked about this the last week that we were here together, and I just want to show you the traditional kit that you would get if you were doing a traditional Sumi painting. So let me tell you a little bit about what's in this kit. Right here we have a stone palette, and what you're going to do is add a little bit of water to your stone palette, just enough so that you have some in the bottom. You're going to take your ink stick and you are going to grind your stick onto this palette. Now the stone is going to help that pigment, that color, flake away, and the more you stir, the darker the color will be. Okay, so you can stir quickly or slowly, and I only have a black ink stick because that is traditional of Sumi painting. Okay, and we're going to look a little closer too. All right, so you can see the ink and how it turns a little darker, which is really cool. All right, now typically if we're doing a Sumi painting, we are going to put water into this container here and dip as needed into our palette, but we're not going to be doing that today, obviously. And then we have this little cool stand, so while we're using our brushes, we can set them here. Also, we have this stamp. This stamp is supposed to represent the signature of the artist. So what the artist would do is they would carve their signature in the bottom of the stone, cover it with red ink, which we can find here, okay? And they would stamp this into the red ink and then add their signature to their paper, which is really neat, okay? So let's get started making our own Sumi paintings with our household products. How about that? All right, so using our household items, like I talked about, we have this tea that's been sitting in this little cup. We're going to try this out, and we're also going to try out a little bit of this food coloring, okay? So you are going to need a paintbrush for this. If you don't have a paintbrush, they're not that expensive at a dollar store, so if you have a family member that's going to run errands, you can maybe ask them if they would pick you up one, if they can, okay? And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna start with our tea and see how dark this is gonna be. How dark do you think it's gonna be? Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna hold my paper steady with my fingers, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna make sure that the bristles of my brush are completely flattened when I start to paint. So I'm gonna sit my brush down on my paper, flatten them out, and pull. And I'm gonna leave a little space. Now, if we're looking at this tea here, my suggestion, I have 3 bags and a very, very little amount of water. you can add more bags, and more bags of tea are going to make this water darker, okay? So I'm just gonna use this for now, even though it is a little bit lighter than I would like. Remember, you want those bristles flat, and we're just gonna kind of create a dashed line coming across our paper. 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash, just like that, okay? Now I'm going to do another dashed line that is gonna come and cross over and kind of create almost an X. If you can see where I'm holding my brush, this is where my next line is gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna start my dashed line down here. 1 dash, 2 dash, 3 dash, okay? Now, when we're talking about Sumi painting, we're wanting to create as little brush strokes as possible. That is very typical of Japanese Sumi painting, okay? Very elegant, very simple. And often these Sumi paintings were designed to show nature scenes. We don't typically see anything else other than nature scenes. Now, I'm realizing that our tea is a little too light for my liking, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of this food coloring. So I'm going to take the lid off, and I have a little palette here. I'm just going to get a couple drops. Now, if you want to lighten this color, you're just going to have to take it and add a little bit of water. But I would just use it straight out of the bottle so that you have a nice dark color. So I'm just going to go over those lines I've created with my food coloring. Ooh, yes, nice and dark. Very good. Okay, do a little bit more. Now, like I said, the tea is also a good alternative, but you want to use a lot of bags. So I'm going to do 2 more X's here real quick. Dashed line, and dashed line. Don't forget to keep that brush flat on your page. Okay. Do another overlapping line here. Dash, dash, and dash. Make sure you fill in all those peekaboo spots if you have any. And I need just a little bit more food coloring. Oops. And I'm going to add another dashed line right down the center of my painting. Dash, dash, and dash. Okay. Now, if you've gotten this far, you are going to add a little bit more detail. Okay. So at every area right here where we have 2 dashes, we're going to add a curved line, okay, at every little space. And this is just going to add a little extra detail and show the viewer that this is a bamboo stock and not just a dashed line. Isn't that neat how that curved line changed our dashed line into a bamboo stock? Now from this point we're going to add some grass blades and some little buds at the end of our grass blades. So our grass blades need to all start from the same spot. So if I do 1, 2, 3 blades at this curve, we want them all to start in the same area. And I'm just going to add those blades all around. This food coloring is working out really well. It doesn't matter what side they're on. Remember, traditional Sumi painting is simple, easy brush strokes. You don't want to go over and over and over the same spots again and again. You want it just to be nice and simple. And that's okay if you have some overlapping grass blades. So now what we're going to do I like my painting as it is, so if you like your painting as it is right now, you could stop, or you can go back in and add a few little dots, a few little buds at the ends of your grass blades, which just gives a little extra design to our painting, okay? And there you have your traditional Sumi Japanese painting of our nature scene using household items. Very, very cool. Don't forget to upload your paintings to our Facebook page so that we can see what you've been doing at home.
All right, you guys, since Miss Walters is teaching you about a Japanese artist, I thought it would be cool if we listened to a Japanese song. This song is called Ame Fure, and in just a second we're going to take a listen. But I want to challenge you to listen to the words and try to figure out what it means, okay? Now you're going to hear 2 verses in this song. The first verse is going to be in Japanese, and the second verse is going to be in English. So when you're listening to the Japanese words, if you're not able to figure out what it's about, then when you hear the second verse, you're going to know right away. So let's listen. Can you tell me what the song was about? Rain. It was about rain. If you got it right, go woo woo. I thought it would be really, really neat if we talked about an instrument today that was in this song. It's not necessarily a Japanese instrument, but it is pretty cool. This is what it is. Do you know what it is? What does it look like? It's made of wood. It's got something special inside of it. This is called a rain stick. Now, a rain stick, some of them are very different, but they're created to sound like rain. Some of them have beads in them, some of them have rice, and I'm sure there are so many other things that people put inside of them, but it's sealed up so nothing falls out. And all you have to do is turn it one way or the other, and it will sound like this. So listen, let's see if it sounds like rain. I'm going to do it again, and this time I want you to close your eyes and see if it really does sound like it's raining. Ready? Close your eyes. Here we go. How cool is that, right? The rain stick belongs in the percussion family. Can you say percussion? Good. Now the percussion family is made up of instruments that you can hit, shake, or scrape to play. So let's look at the rain stick. Do we hit the rain stick to play it? No. Do we shake it? Well, I guess this kind of could be seen as shaking it. Okay, what about scrape it? Do we scrape it like a weiro? Not really, but technically all of the rice or beans or anything else that's inside of a rain stick is scraping up against the wood as you are turning it or shaking it. So technically, because we shake or scrape this instrument, it is a percussion instrument. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. And now let's go talk to Miss Walters.
Thanks for watching our video.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
We miss you guys.
And tune in next week for a whole new episode. Bye.
Bye.